Hey everyone, I'm Marlie Hall. Welcome to the show that covers the culture like no other. Joining us today, a panel of experts to give us their unfiltered opinions. We have immigration attorney Sophia Gurulé, Derrell Smith, chef and former pro athlete, and publicist Tanisha Colon-Bibb. Thank you so much for joining us. A number of trending topics to cover today, so let's jump right in. We start with the biggest story in sports right now. Colin Kaepernick will finally be back on the field this weekend, but not for a game. The former 49ers quarterback will take part in a private workout for NFL team reps on Saturday in Atlanta, and controversy is brewing. Cap was notified about the NFL-hosted workout on Tuesday and was only given hours to decide if he'll participate. Also, he is not being told which teams will be in attendance. Colin Kaepernick hasn't played since 2016, the year he began protesting police brutality by kneeling during the national anthem. Several NFL execs say they're confused by this unprecedented move by the NFL and can't attend. Here's what former teammate Eric Reed had to say. Listen.
It feels like the same play from the NFL. It feels disingenuous. They told Colin that he has the opportunity and that the league will send representatives from each team, but it's a Saturday before a game.
So teams travel on Saturday because they have games on Sunday. So Derrell, you're a former NFL player. Why do you think the NFL is now hosting this private workout for Cap?
I mean, I would say just to shut him up. I think that, but on the flip side, I think that an opportunity is an opportunity. So if Cap goes out there and kills it, I think that it could be a cool opportunity. But from the way it is being presented, it seems like the NFL said, all right, let's shut him up. Let's have a workout. If he doesn't do well, then at least we said, like, look, we showed you that he wasn't ready for the NFL. To me, I think Reed might be right. Like, it's cool because you make it to the NFL, but once you get to the NFL and you realize it's a business and they treat you like a business, he affected their bottom line. And now he's trying to get back into it. And it feels like an abusive relationship. So hopefully, I'm hopeful, but I think Reed is right.
Why do you say it's an abusive relationship?
Because it's like a girlfriend. Like, you get that girlfriend and in your whole life you wanted this girlfriend and you get her and you become vulnerable and you tell her how you feel and how you're being affected by what's going on around you. And instead of them backing you, they backed their bottom line because now people started to get upset. And so, like, to me, I wouldn't even do it. But if this is his dream, let him do it. But I think Reed might be right on this one. Yeah.
So Cap was only given 4 days to prepare for this. Do you think that is fair? And is this a real opportunity?
Yeah. Well, I don't watch a lot of sports, and I especially stopped watching the NFL when Cap started kneeling. But I think that, one, it's not a real thing. I think they're kind of just like throwing a bone, and it's like you said, kind of shut up about it now. I think he's ready. He's been very vocal about the fact that he gets up at 5 a.m. and he still works out. So I don't think his talent is at question here. My biggest thing is why, right? And I know he spoke on it. He said, this has been my dream. I've been playing football. See, I don't even know. No, playing football my whole life, and this is my dream. But I think maybe he has a bigger purpose. And I hope that maybe after Saturday, whatever happens from it, then maybe he taps into that bigger purpose. I know he sees the impact he's making on young kids and just our culture in general. And maybe he will start to divert and say, yeah, football used to be everything to me, but maybe it's not anymore. Because I just don't feel like abusive relationship. I get it. Like, why would you want to give? Why would you want to put money back into the pockets of these people that really don't love you and support you and want you to do your best? So, yeah.
Right. So, Sophia, are you in line with that? Would you show up to this private workout if it were you?
I mean, that's Cap's decision. I think I totally agree. I think the NFL is just trying to placate him and placate everyone who supports him because so many people do support him. I actually just watched last night Megan Rapinoe talking about Kaepernick and like honoring him when she was receiving an award. And I think people realize that he really resonates with a lot of people who actually care about what's going on in the world. But at the end of the day, I mean, I'm not a former NFL player, but I did play sports. And
but you're sitting next to one.
But I'm sitting next to one. But I mean, like, I know what it's like to love playing something and to dedicate your entire life to it. So, I don't know like Cap does, but I could see why he would want to.
So, Derrell, we're 11 weeks into the season now. What is the likelihood that this will result in Cap getting signed?
Well, if you look at Deshaun Watson, you look at the kid from the Ravens, the NFL is moving towards this way, like this agile, super athletic, our RPO top style guy who can fake the handoff and run for 50 yards. And that's Cap's thing. And so it would make sense if they would have did it the right way. Like I would have had more faith in it if they would have said, all right, we'll do it on a Monday or Tuesday, possibly a Tuesday because everybody's off and everybody can send the right representation to see him. Now, if you rush him, you give him 4 days and people are traveling to games, everybody's mind is not on this. I think it's messed up. It's very messed up. But I could see it being a possibility, but the way they went about it, I'm not confident that he'll get picked up. We'll see though.
You're not confident.
I'm optimistic, but or I'm hopeful, but I don't know. He fits though.
So what about you? Would you show up to this private workout if it were you?
No, but I'm also like rebellious and I'm very like, things have changed in my life and this is not, it's kind of like, they don't like you. It just seems like they don't like you. So why would you give all your talent to this sport if they don't love you? I don't know. No, I wouldn't show up though.
So there are rumors that Jay-Z was somehow involved in orchestrating this. Is that a good or bad thing?
I think it's good because now at least there's minority representation at the table. I mean, you got Khan from Jacksonville, who's an owner, but before that, it's just rich old white dudes all sitting around making these decisions for a primarily minority-driven league, and that's not right. And so now that we have some type of representation, I know it's a lot of backlash, but if this is something that Jay-Z did, hopefully it's a trickle effect, and we'll start to see this be the norm in the NFL, where people of color are being put at the forefront. Because, I mean, if you shun somebody for 3 years, like Kaepernick, and now we start to bring it back, it's progress. It's some type of progress. Like I said, I'm conflicted on the situation, but I think it's an opportunity nonetheless.
And you think he should take it?
I mean, if it's your dream, I think that it sends two messages, and those messages can be conflicting the way you look at it. But to a child, it says, never give up on what you want. And then to the people who backed them and stopped watching the NFL, it can seem like a stab in the back because you drove us to do this, and now like you're going back to this abusive relationship. Yeah, he beating on you. Don't go back. No, I want him.
I love him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So far, not one NFL team has publicly expressed interest in signing Cap this year, but I think he deserves to play, and I hope he gets that chance. So watching football on Sunday is sacred to some, but others will be in church, and Jesus is bringing his word to one of the largest pulpits in the Christian community. Televangelist Joel Osteen has invited Kanye West to join him this Sunday at Lakewood Church in Houston. Ye will talk about his faith journey and overcoming adversity at the Megachurch's morning service. Then he'll return in the evening to hold his popular Sunday service. It sounds like the community is excited to receive the self-proclaimed Christian genius billionaire. Take a look.
A big Kanye fan. I was a fan before he became a Christian, but I also believe in Jesus, so it's like two worlds clashing, which is like, for me, it's just awesome.
Well, Joel Osteen has a congregation of nearly 50,000 people. This could be the biggest Christian-specific audience Kanye has ever been exposed to. So, Tanisha, you're laughing already.
Yes.
But is Joel Osteen lending some kind of Christian credibility to Kanye?
I'm a Christian. Let's put that. I'm very spiritual, and I do have a home church. Sometimes, though, Christianity, especially at the magnitude of Joel Osteen, can be a little bit pandering or like to attach to things. I don't think it gives Kanye more spirituality credit because to me that's an individual thing, and like shouldn't be given cred to love Jesus. I don't know, or to be able to pull people towards Jesus. I think anyone has that ability. There's no verified for that, right? But it just seems to me like this is getting out of control. It's getting a little bit out of control for me only because working in public relations, especially entertainment, he's promoting an album, right? And so sometimes it could seem like it's starting to seem to me like a marketing situation rather than I want people to come to Christianity. I want them to know Jesus. That's totally different than I'm promoting an album and a feature film and I'm going to the biggest stage in the world, arguably in the world when it comes to Christianity. I don't know, Kanye. I don't know, Jesus.
Well, speaking of the album, I listened to Jesus is King, and I don't think that Joel Osteen and Kanye have exactly the same message. Do you think that Pastor Osteen actually listened to the album?
Absolutely not. I haven't listened to the album. I used to be a huge Kanye fan. I've seen him twice, waited front at a concert to be first in row type of situation.
But that's a super fan.
real.
Yeah, no, it was real. It was real. And then he started on the whole MAGA thing, and it was like, that was the final straw for me. I was like, I really can't. Especially if you're talking about Christianity, it's like, how do you wear that hat? How do you support Donald Trump? How do you even get into that and claim that you're a Christian? Like, he's like, the Trump administration is locking up children on the border. So this whole Christianity thing, I'm like, I don't know where you're going right now, Kanye, but I'm not going with you.
You're not with it.
No.
So, Derrell, what do you think Joel Osteen's end game is? What do you think he has to gain from this?
Well, Joel Osteen is a top of tongue name for a reason. Like he's been a marketing genius since his career started. For this, I think it's the same thing. Like you get two marketing geniuses in the same exact room. It's brilliant. It is brilliant. I don't think that is ethically correct, but I think what they're trying to accomplish, they will definitely accomplish by doing this, because now he's going from playing this thing in the desert and in front of a small group,
Right.
and now you get the biggest Christian stage possibly in the world. So I think it's brilliant. I just don't think it's ethically right to do. Yeah, it ain't the name of Jesus. It's not the name of Jesus. Absolutely
But
not.
what's the ethical concern there for you?
Because I think that, like you said, Christianity is something that you don't play with. Like I think that God in general is something that you don't play with in this manner. And my parents are pastors, and so I have a very intimate relationship with God and my understanding of God. And when you use it to make something that is rooted in evil, which is money, and is man-made, that's not spiritual. And so I'll leave it at that. But like I just don't think it's not right.
But isn't Osteen doing the Christian thing by embracing Ye?
Well, absolutely. The Christian thing is to embrace, but to give a platform is a completely different thing, right? Personally, I know someone, when Ye was in New York for Sunday service, it was at a good friend of mine's church, and I wanted the insight, because I'm not going to go to a Sunday service, but I wanted the insight. And to me, if you're going to affect people, if you're going to say, I'm going to take a stage, I want to promote Christianity, I want to promote Jesus, there's a part of the service where there's a call to the altar, which means people are giving their lives to Jesus. That, to me, is the marker. That's the moment that everything that was said, everything that was saying, everything, whatever, that's the moment where you see where you've affected people. He didn't do that. There was a whole service, and it was all on YouTube and da-da-da-da, but there's no like, okay, did we engage? Did we really change people's minds and spirits and lives? Or were we just here to perform and be out? If you were here to perform and be out, cool, but then don't preach, I'm trying to build the kingdom of Jesus. Don't do that.
And sell merch.
And so,
Right.
and be on YouTube.
Well, Lakewood Church reaches 10 million online viewers in 100 countries, but I'm willing to bet there will be even more this weekend since Kanye's visit will be streamed live. So coming up, dreamers in the U.S. could soon face a nightmare, and meet the black woman who launched the chicken sandwich wars. After the break, stay right here. Welcome back. President Trump wants to remove deportation protection for nearly 700,000 young immigrants, and the Supreme Court will likely allow it. The hearing began this week to repeal the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, also known as DACA. It allows immigrants who were brought to America as children to legally work and attend school. More than 90% of those protected under DACA have jobs, and 45% are students. But Donald Trump says the dreamers are bad people. He tweeted, in part, "Many of the people in DACA, no longer very young, are far from angels. Some are very tough, hardened criminals." Well, we know that that's not true, because everyone protected under DACA has to pass a background check. So let's start with clearing up any misconceptions. Sophia, you're the legal expert. What exactly is DACA, and what was the intent behind it?
So DACA was announced under the Obama administration in 2012 after extensive pressure from community organizers, particularly young undocumented people who were just trying to stay lawfully in the country and to not have the threat of deportation hanging over their heads constantly. Again, he wasn't super excited about it. It took community organizers to make that happen. And one of the concessions was something that you were just talking about in terms of the criminal arrest record and that kind of barring people from actually applying for DACA, which has a lot of its own complicated implications that I'm happy to talk about more. But it's not actually a pathway to citizenship. All it says is that they will not actively try to deport you. You are deferred from deportation, meaning that they're not going to target you. And also you can actually lawfully work in the United States.
So where are we with the Supreme Court rulings and proceedings?
Kind of like you just said, they had the hearing this week. Many of the community organizers and activists who pushed for it back in 2012 were actually there at the Supreme Court outside of the steps. It's exactly how you just described it. Essentially, even if the Supreme Court decides to uphold DACA, there's a strong likelihood, because of the legal issues that are at play in that decision, that the Trump administration will just write a longer memo rather than the shitty memo, to be honest, that they wrote to take away the protections for dreamers and people who have been here pretty much their entire lives.
Right. And a lot of this conversation is framed around people who are members of the Latinx community. But we know that immigrants also are Black. They come from places like Africa and the Caribbean. Do you feel like those immigrants are not being considered here?
No, I think that, I've never thought about it, but yes, to your answer, I think Donald Trump really focuses on Mexican American or Mexican immigrants specifically, which is very strange. He does a lot of strange things, but I don't think that Africans, even people from Haiti, are really considered when it comes to DACA or any sort of these. And I don't know, maybe because New York is different, or each state has their own rules and laws about immigration, so maybe it's just easier to fall under the radar in places like New York, where I think most of those immigrants live. Maybe, I don't know. I don't like to blanket statement like Donald Trump does, but I think this goes back to the Supreme Court, how important it is that we put the right people in these seats, right? Because they're gonna back him because he put them there, right? And he appointed them. So it's super important. I know Brett Kavanaugh had a lot behind him in regards to the Me Too movement, but just the fact that he supported Donald Trump was an issue in the first place, that he was gonna be able to sit in this seat. So it's unfortunate that that wasn't a big thing. I mean, obviously his history with women wasn't good, but also putting people in these seats are super important. The people that are put in these seats are super important.
Mm-hmm. And Derrell, we've heard from so many dreamers who are obviously and understandably upset about this. Can you understand why?
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, absolutely. I think that when you think about Trump, he's very effective. He may go after, it may seem like he's just going after Latinx, but I think at the core of him, he upholds white supremacy. And in doing that, he is extremely effective. It's not just affecting Latinx or Mexican Americans or Mexicans in general. He is literally targeting with this super small scope of white supremacy. And because of that trickle effect, it affects so many other people. And so, I mean, he's effective at being evil.
Yeah, I mean, and to your point about generalizations,
Yeah.
we know how he feels about African countries that are in Africa. We know how he feels about Haiti. He calls them shithole countries.
Exactly.
And when he's talking about hardened criminals, he's not, first of all, he's not thinking about himself.
Right.
He doesn't consider himself a hardened criminal,
Which
even
he
though
is.
he's, we know that there was an impeachment process yesterday,
Right.
and that he has done so many things that would be criminalized if he wasn't a rich white man.
Right.
So the fact that he can come for immigrants, for Black immigrants, and say that they're hardened criminals, it's you don't even know what you're talking about.
Exactly.
You just don't consider yourself one because of your own position in society.
Yeah.
It's don't even get me started.
Yeah, I know. I love
Well,
it.
Trump says that Obama did not have the authority to enact DACA, but does Trump have the authority to dismantle it?
Well, that's kind of the legal issue. So let's also not forget that Donald Trump issued a tweet. It's hard to keep up with it.
Issued a tweet.
Yeah,
Right.
but
An
that's
official
how
tweet.
that's how he operates
I know.
now. He gives full
Yeah.
political or
Memos
policy
via
memos
tweet.
via Twitter, and he was like, "Oh, I'm going to protect the dreamers. I'm going to protect them," and now he's saying that it's illegal. And it's literally these are things that the Supreme Court are going to be having to consider, saying that was his decision to make this policy memo arbitrary and capricious, which is a legal standard that's at play within the Supreme Court right now. And his tweets are relevant to that and showing that he's all over the place and we can't keep up with what he's actually trying to do. Right. So I mean that is an outstanding legal question, but I think what DACA also underscores is that we need to do more for people who are undocumented in this country. We need to expand DACA protections. We need to actually like have our legislature. We have a whole legislative branch that can be making it into law so that it's also a pathway to citizenship and not just like, oh, we're not going to deport you today.
But with Obama, it seems like he at least tried to take a step in the right direction.
He did.
It seemed like DACA was created to be enhanced and worked on and like played around with instead of destroyed. And when you look at something that at the core of it is good, like, yo, these people, like, yo, they're contributing to the society.
Yeah.
And at the core of it, it is a good thing. And when you destroy a good thing, what is the reason for it? What is the reason? Why don't you look at it and see the opportunity instead of just being hate and spreading hate?
Well, like you said, he's a white supremacist.
Yeah.
Fucking devil.
That was strong. Okay. Well, if DACA is repealed, thousands of people could be deported to countries they didn't grow up in, where they might not even speak the language, and that just seems unfair. So switching gears a bit, Black Twitter has solved a mystery. We now know the identity of the woman behind the tweet that made the Popeyes chicken sandwich go viral. Take a look at this. It says, "Why should you hire Black women for social? You're looking at a group photo of GSDM, the marketing agency that did the digital strategy for Popeye's Chicken. The girl, circled, the only person of color in the photo, by the way, is responsible for the tweet that sent the brand on fire with over 3 billion impressions. And that woman's name is Angela Brown. She's the one who was circled. And she saw the tweet, and here's what she had to say in response. Take a look. It says, "OMG, hi. Wow, that's me, and I am so emotional over seeing this. Thank you for saying what needed to be said and for bringing more visibility to this moment." So this is the tweet, here it is, that caused a nationwide sandwich shortage in just 1 week. It was a response to a subtweet from Chick-fil-A, and it simply says, "Y'all good?" Well, the response was so huge, Popeyes scrapped their existing promotional campaign to lean in this direction. So, Tanisha, you work in PR. Do you find it surprising that a brand like Popeyes would listen to the only Black woman on the team?
Well, Popeyes, is very Black. I would say that amongst all the chickens, especially in comparison to Chick-fil-A, Popeyes is very Black.
Well, their customers are.
Well, their customers, right? Yes, and they're from Louisiana. You know, our favorite Black lady in the commercial. I think that they had to lean on her. I think it was the smartest. I would love to have been in that room because so many times it's overlooked and she would have been overpassed. But there had to be someone in leadership there that was like, you know what, this is, you should run with this. This is good. They were probably nervous, right? Because that's a space that they're not really familiar with. But I'm pretty sure Angela stepped up and said, "No, this is our vernacular. This is the way we talk. This is going to do well. You need to trust me. You need to trust me." And that has to show for the work that she's probably done for the agency already. They're not going to just trust anyone that just kind of, came in. Popeyes is probably a big client for them. So this goes to her work, and this was her moment, and she shone.
I hope she got a promotion.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we see you.
Yeah. So, Derrell, why do you think that simple phrase, "y'all good," resonated so much?
Because it sounds like what you would say. Like that's
absolutely.
as simple as that. Like it just sounds, I would say that.
Simple.
Yeah. And with Twitter, I think that when you look at a brand and a brand's voice, and I would say a good majority of Popeye's customers are probably Black people. And when you see that brand react in a way that you will react, there's this type of intimacy that you have with it. And it's no surprise that the tweet did that well because they honed in and like it was the perfect response.
It was.
Yes.
It sounded
company,
yeah,
too.
it sounded
Perfect company, right?
Absolutely.
Perfect company. It was all a great.
It's like Trump versus Black folks. Like Chick-fil-A is this super like Christian, closed on Sundays, but like against gay rights.
Right.
And now you get Popeyes like, yo, y'all good?
Right.
Like a click, snapping head. Yeah, perfect.
Well, Sophia, I know you've had the sandwich.
I
So
have.
do you think there is a fine line between good marketing and pandering to customers?
I mean, I thought the sandwich was really good. I really liked the sandwich. And I had tried to go get the sandwich in the Bronx and Harlem multiple times, and it was hard, so I had to go all the way out to Queens.
Wow,
But,
you worked to try that
I mean,
sandwich.
when I was in the neighborhood and I saw it, I was like...
You're working.
Yeah, right. And I was like, oh, there it is. And the lines were always out of control. But no, I mean, I love the sandwich. I think Black Twitter controls Twitter. I think Black Twitter is the mover of pretty much everything that matters in terms of culture. So, no. I think she was amazing. Perfect target, perfect message, everything.
Right. Well, Popeyes has been in the news for many reasons lately. This is the most positive one I've seen and heard in a while. So kudos to Angela and to companies who hire and listen to Black women. So up next, rapper Lil Nas X is making history on his way down Old Town Road. We'll explain after the break. Welcome back. Rapper Lil Nas X just became the first openly gay man to win at the Country Music Association Awards, and his historic ride is just getting started. The Old Town Road remix featuring Billy Ray Cyrus won Musical Event of the Year at the CMAs. The category honors the most powerful musical collaborations. Lil Nas X was not at the award show, but he did react on social media with this simple tweet. It says, "Let's go," with multiple O's. So the Old Town Road remix topped the charts for 19 consecutive weeks. It was one of the biggest songs of the year. So, Tanisha, did the CMAs give Lil Nas X the respect that he deserves?
No, they gave it to him because he's with Billy Ray Cyrus. I mean, Billy Ray is, they can't make him upset. He's right up there with all the greats for country music. I mean, I listen to country music. I'm not going to say I'm a huge, huge fan, but if it wasn't for Billy Ray, they would have never given him the respect that I don't think he really needed it or wanted it. It was just, we live in a genreless society. I mean, going back to like music right now, kids listen to everything. And I think what music artists are trying to push is this kind of like genreless living. I mean, like genreless art forms so they can like do whatever they want to do. But no, I think Billy Ray was a huge reason why CMAs even recognized Lil Nas X, which is great because he's also gay, which is like a double whammy. He's Black and he's gay. Yeah.
So if they were to give him the respect that he deserves, what would that look like for you?
I mean, offering him, I don't know if they invited him. I'm pretty sure that they did, obviously, because he was a nominee. Giving him some airtime, the respect of putting him on the charts and respecting that. Maybe if he came out with his own song without a feature and they put him on the charts, that would be respect.
Well, if you remember, the original song was removed from the country music Billboard charts because Billboard said it wasn't country enough. So do you think that this gives Lil Nas X some vindication?
I feel as though it's one song, all right? It's one song with respect. I got a different definition of respect.
Okay, tell me.
I think that Michael Jordan deserves respect, right? He's consistently over time, like he proved that he was a GOAT. Jay-Z in the music genre deserves respect, consistently put out hits. Lil Nas X, I think that he did the right thing at the right time, and like you spoke about during the break, he did it, and when he was shunned by the Country Music Awards, then Grandma came and was like, "Where they at?"
Right.
And like dragged him along, and then everybody just uplifted him.
Yeah.
And so I think he doesn't need it. Like he has a whole society and a whole group of people behind him, and he is still showing up. It doesn't have to be in the music realm because the second song that he had is like Panini or something. It's horrible. Yeah. But like I hate that song. It sounds like a joke. Like it's silly, but it's catchy. Somebody might like it. But I feel as though he doesn't need it anymore. Like he proved what he needed to prove. He can move on. The CMAs though, like I think this is an opportunity for them to embrace this opposed to shun it away. So I respect what they did. I think they could do more, like you said, but
And then there are other Black country artists. You know what I mean? Like Lil Nas X is not a country artist. Like at the end of the day, he would not define himself as one. So I think if you're gonna talk respect in terms of CMA, they need to give respect to the current Black country artists that have been making music.
Absolutely.
Yes.
But he is very popularly known as the country rapper.
It's crazy. People gave him that definition. People gave him that title. He would never say that he was a country rapper. I guarantee that. Because artists don't like to be confined. Yeah.
Well, did you talk to him? Do you know this for a fact?
Personally, yep.
Okay. All right. Well, we know that he was the first Black person, Lil Nas X, the first gay person to receive an award at the CMA. So do you think that this is an example of inclusion, that they're getting more diverse?
I think it's probably more about money and the fact that he made a lot of money and that they were called out for the fact that they didn't even want to identify his music as country music, even though it very clearly was, or at least that song was. So, I mean, I think it's about their bottom line to return to that. But I mean, I hope I'm wrong. I hope it's something bigger and better, but I think he's going to do fine and he actually doesn't need them to continue being successful.
He also checked
your
two
point.
boxes. He checked the black and the gay, but like that's 2 boxes checked. That's a very good decision by the leadership. Like, like you know what? Like this is a strategic decision for us to do this. Similar to Kaepernick. Similar to it.
Very strategic. Beyonce came out with Daddy's Issues,
and performed it.
And that's a country song.
Yep.
So
with Dixie Chicks.
Yes.
Do you think this is a boost for hip hop to be represented on the CMA stage?
The hip hop doesn't need to see it. Yeah. They need us.
They need us.
Yes.
All right. Well, Lil Nas X is not just collecting awards, he's also collecting a very nice paycheck. He was number 18 on Forbes' list of top earning country music acts this year, grossing $14 million. So that's all for today. I want to thank my guests, Sophia, Derrell, and Tanisha for joining us and sharing their uncensored commentary. And as always, thank you for watching. I'm Marlie. See you next time.